Hello, and thank you for participating in today's webinar. My name is Stephen Teixeira. I'm the California Coordinator for the Specialty Crop Block Grant Program and the Specialty Crop Multi-State Program. Today, we'll be providing an overview of the 2019 Specialty Crop Multi-State Program, or SCMP. So, in today's review, we'll define some of the terms in USDA's request for applications. We'll review the types of projects being solicited. We'll review the content of the application and the process for awarding proposals. We'll address some of the California-specific program requirements, and we'll provide information on assistance available and questions. This program is specifically seeking collaborative projects where participants in more than one state play a significant role in the project. There's up to $10 million available for SCMP, or the Specialty Crop Multi-State Program. USDA may not award the full amount, and any remaining funds will roll over to the next solicitation. Unlike a block grant program, virtually all decisions are made at the national level, including the program priorities or project types, type of information required in the application, and the application format, and finally the funding decision. Specialty crops are defined as fruits and vegetables, tree nuts, dried fruits, medicinal herbs and spices, and horticulture and nursery crops, including floriculture. Funds must not benefit non-specialty crops such as dairy, livestock, or any other ineligible commodities. There is a comprehensive but not all-inclusive list of eligible and ineligible commodities on USDA's website. In the next few slides, we'll clarify the terms in the USDA RFA. First is participating states, which refers to state departments of agriculture that accept SCMP applications and are willing to administer awards if projects are selected for funding. The second are multi-state partners. These are organizations in any U.S. state or territory that develop SCMP proposals. Because of the changes to the program, we're also providing additional information on non-participating states and entities in those states. The key information for non-participating states is that organizations in those states are still eligible to partner on a multi-state project, and they have the option to apply directly to USDA, or they can also apply to a participating state like California. Entities that are eligible to act as multi-state partners include nonprofit and for-profit organizations, local, state, federal, and tribal government entities, and the public and private colleges and universities. The multi-state partners must include at least 2 organizations from 2 different states with a substantial role in the project. Proposals must have a benefit that extends to multiple states, but projects for crops grown exclusively or primarily in only one state may have difficulty meeting this standard. Organizations in California cannot apply directly to USDA for the SCMP. Applications must be submitted to CDFA or another participating state if one of the other project partners is also in a participating state. These are the project types developed by USDA for the 2019 SCMP. You can review additional information or examples of appropriate projects on the RFA on the USDA AMS SCMP website that we'll provide a link to at the end of the presentation. At this point, we're going to review the required components of the SCMP application. CDFA has developed an instruction page for preparing the SCMP application and templates for most sections of the application. The templates are not mandatory, but they may be helpful. The first section of the project narrative is the executive summary. The SCMP project narrative does not have a specific section for the project title, so consider including the title in the executive summary. Also, keep in mind that the executive summary will be published on USDA and CDFA's website if your project is selected for funding. So it should be suitable for dissemination to the public. Please don't include any jargon or acronyms. Next is alignment and intent. The project objectives that are provided in the alignment and intent section will become the basis of the work plan in the next section of the application. Next is technical merit, which, as I mentioned, includes the work plan. There are a number of elements required in the work plan for each project objective. To make sure the project has all the required elements, we strongly encourage you to review the USDA RFA or use the template developed by CDFA for this program. Achievability is based on the USDA outcome measures developed for SCBGP. Keep in mind that outcomes should be realistic and achievable within the grant duration. Next is expertise and partners. As you develop your proposal, it's important to note that each multi-state partner will need to agree in writing to the management plan that's described here. CDFA has templates for the budget spreadsheet and the budget narrative. The budget spreadsheet should be completed in Excel and converted to PDF in the application package. The budget narrative is a Word document. CDFA asks that you retain the Excel version of the budget spreadsheet and Word versions of the budget narrative and project narrative. If you're selected for funding, having these documents in a Microsoft format will allow us to expedite your grant agreement. Also, note that indirect is limited by federal statute to 8% of total direct costs. Based on changes to the requirements for participating states, CDFA anticipates that all indirect will pass through to multi-state partners. Nonetheless, we ask that all applicants request the maximum allowable rate. For 2019, USDA has emphasized that resumes should be no more than 1 to 2 pages for each major project participant. If they receive resumes or CVs greater than 2 pages, they will disregard the entire resume or CV. Personnel qualifications are worth 25% of the technical review score for this program, so it's important to the success of your proposal to adhere to this requirement. A letter of commitment is required for each multi-state partner, and each letter of commitment must include all of the elements on this slide. The last 2 parts of the FCMP application package may not be applicable to all proposals. Forms 80-3030 and 80-3031 are only required if a multi-state partner is a for-profit corporation. The 501(c)(3)s are not subject to this requirement. The negotiated indirect cost rate agreement is only required of multi-state partners that have a federally approved rate. Organizations that rely on the de minimis rate or do not otherwise have a negotiated rate are not required to provide anything here. Also, just note again, while USDA requires copies of negotiated indirect cost rate agreements as applicable, this doesn't change the federal statute limiting indirect for this program. When submitting your proposal, please be sure to give yourself adequate time and don't wait until the last minute. As you may be aware, September 1st, the deadline, is a Sunday. The CDFA staff will not be available to provide assistance on the due date. Also, please keep in mind that CDFA's email server has a 10 megabyte limit. That's approximately 5,000 pages of text only. That doesn't include any images or embedded HTML. Please contact us as soon as possible if your proposal packet will exceed that file size. The scoring criteria for this program is based on a 100-point scale considering the following factors: alignment and intent, technical merit, achievability, expertise and partners, fiscal plan and resources. Additional information is available on the USDA RFA. Continuing with proposal review, only the highest ranked proposals will receive an administrative review from USDA AMS. If a project is selected for funding, USDA may have additional requirements before an agreement can be executed. Also, be advised that USDA may offer an award for less than the amount requested. The current timeframe to announce awards is as early as December of this year and as late as spring 2020. For projects not selected for funding, CDFA will provide any comments passed on from USDA along with any administrative feedback from CDFA. There are some additional requirements that are specific to applications submitted to California. First, all proposals are subject to the travel prohibition to states with discriminatory laws pursuant to Assembly Bill 1887. Please make a note of the states listed on this slide, as this prohibition may seriously affect the ability of a California organization to partner with an organization in one of these states. If your proposal is selected for funding, please note that CDFA can only enter into one agreement for the project. The multi-state partners will need to designate one organization as the primary recipient, and the others will need to be contractors on the project. If you have any questions, you can email those questions to our address here, grants@cdfa.ca.gov. Also, please note we can't guarantee that we'll have sufficient time to answer any questions that are received after August 28, 2019. Here are links to the California SCMP website. That includes the application instruction and checklist. You can submit questions or request application templates by email to grants@cdfa.ca.gov. And finally, we've listed the USDA website for SCMP that provides additional information about the program and includes a link to the request for application. That concludes our presentation. Thank you very much for participating. We look forward to receiving your application.